All right, you guys, this is my fourth episode of War Stories. I'm gonna get straight into it, like always. But before I do, let me make a quick announcement, real quick. So me and Sandman were supposed to go on and do a live tonight. Sandman has been dealing with some personal stuff on the side, so give it a couple days. I told him we'll reschedule it for tomorrow or the next couple of days. So he'll be on. For those of you that are Sandman favorites, those of you that been waiting for Sandman to come back on, just give it a couple more days and it'll happen. Also, I touched base with Jerry. He's been busy, swamped with the new job he got. Congrats to the brother, man. He got a good job, man, and he's finally he's doing good for himself, man. So shout out to the homie, man. I'm glad he's been making money and he's in a new spot and he's finally getting things together for himself, and that's a good thing, man. Anytime I see a loved one that's doing right for himself and things are starting to come together for him, man, it's always a positive thing. So shout out to the brother, but he will be back on here within the next, I'm gonna say, just to play it safe, by the weekend. Oh shit, what's today? Today Friday. Let's just say from now until Tuesday, we'll see what happens. Damn, some heavy ass hands. I'm shaking the whole fucking table. Speaking of heavy hands, so let's get straight into it, man. Let's talk about these heavy ass hands. So I'm gonna take you guys back to, I wanna say this happened around, it had to have happened around 1990, 93, 94, somewhere around there. This was before my daughter was born. So that's kind of like my landmark. Before she was born, a lot of this stuff happened before, a lot of this happened right after. Like I said, I was in my mid-20s. So, this is a fucked up story right here because it involves one of my homeboys. And honestly, he was an older cat. I barely met him. I met him later after this incident. I didn't know who he was at the time that this happened. I'm not going to mention his name because of what we did to him. And obviously, even though there's no animosity between us, but obviously things are still kind of a little weird just based on the fact of what happened. And you guys don't understand. So the statute of limitations, they're burnt up on this right here if it was a case. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not gonna mention, there's three of us that were involved in this. The homeboy Chewy don't he doesn't care, he doesn't mind. But the other homeboy, out of respect, I'm not gonna mention his name. We'll just call him the third homie, the third wheel, or whatever you guys want to. I'll refer to him as something. Anyway, so in my hood, my hood has changed, man. San Francisco's changed. A lot of you asked if I go through the city, if I still kick it out there, man. It's nothing like it was, man. Back in the 80s, the early 90s, it used to be a lot of homeboys up and down 24th. There was homeboys up and down Mission Street, period. Even though and there was a lot of Sureños on 19th and they were doing their thing, but still, the homeboys were deep as fuck. You had a lot of different hoods. 22nd Street was out there thick. You had the Natoma Street boys. You had, we can go back to the 80s, man, where you had HHG, Happy Heights. You had Southeast, Excelsior Park. Daly City was mobbing. You had 30th Street. Cortland was out there doing their thing. You had LNS. Well, LNS wasn't out in the that far back is what I'm thinking, but you had LTM, you had SFM, 20th Street, the Mata Salvatruchas were out there thick. Valencia Park, they had a bunch of Mata Salvatruchas used to kick it up there. You had homeboys down on 15th. You had another Sureños hood on 14th. You had 21st, 22nd. There was homeboys on between 23rd and 24th. That was like my hood. You had homeboys up on, let me see. They were all throughout the Mission. You had Hampshire Street. You had Garfield Park, Potrero Hill. You had what's the name of that? Persida Park. I'm talking. You had a lot of hoods out there. And I'm not even touching half of them that were out there. But there was a lot going on out there. Now it's like a fucking. There's nobody out there no more. You have a lot of cops out there, a lot of substations. The Mission District is like a mix. It's diverse. There's a lot of diversity out there. You got before it used to be a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood where there was nothing but raza out there. You know, and I don't care that there's a lot of diversity, but I'm just saying it's a whole nother look now. You got whites, blacks, Africanos. You got raza. So it's changed. It's changed. You know that when you drive through there, if you go on, I'm gonna shout you out right now, Fat Ass Dave. If you go on Fat Ass Dave's channel, him and Chino, they got a good channel. It's called Keeping It 100. So if you go on their channel, you'll see Dave posts a lot of videos where he's mobbing through the city, driving up and down the Mission District, and you can see there's still a lot of murals that Santana, you know, a lot of murals of Santana and a lot of graffiti. The hood's still the hood, but there's just nobody out there no more. Everybody from my era is they're either older, they're dead, they're in prison, or they've moved away somewhere else, man. You know, cats end up getting burnt out of the same old and end up shaking the spot. So it's nothing like it used to be. But you know that era that I'm talking about, I'm telling you, man, every time I used to go down to my hood, all you would see was lowriders, homeboys pulled over with their windows rolled down, parked somewhere, drinking. But where I'm gonna take you guys to is La Raza Park. So there's a park that's, if you're on 24th and Mission, if you go all the way down past Potrero and you keep going past, I think I forget the Utah and all those little small streets going down that way. You go all the way to the end and you hang a right. I forget what the name of the street is, but right there is how you get to La Raza Park. And that's where on a Friday night, Saturday night, you'd find all the homeboys right there. They'd be parked all down. So the street is a dead end street. And there's about 70 parking stalls right there. So that's where all the homeboys would park, right there, side to side to side to side to side. And like I said, everybody had their windows rolled down. Everybody be bumping their shit. And there'd be homeboys standing on the sidewalk, homegirls out there, and they'd be drinking. That's all we do is stand out there and drink, smoke fucking KJ, doing our thing. That's where we used to kick it at. If we weren't in the hood, we were at La Raza Park chilling. So on this particular day that I'm gonna bring you guys to, I was kicking it with the third homie. It's a big homeboy that I used to mob around with. Me and that cat we used to terrorize my neighborhood. This fool is a Puerto Rican cat. Some of you might end up pinning down who I'm talking about. Big ass Puerto Rican cat. The fool keeps like some 22s, some 22-inch arms on the natch. The motherfucker, he's one of them motherfuckers that just has good genetics, doesn't really have to lift that much weights, and has always been swole. Motherfucker like me gotta hit the gym, gotta kill myself just to get a couple inches. But this motherfucker, man, we used to kick it. Me and this cat, we used to kick it. I mean, he used to live with me when my mom was still around, and you know, he was like part of the family. He was almost like my brother. That's how I used to refer to him. But he was part of the family, and like we catch cases together. We both go away. We'd end up going to Quentin together. We catch like 11-month violation. We end up getting out on the same day. He get 11 flat. I get 11 flat. We bounce, come out, and then we run around and start mobbing again, do it all over again, catch another case, go back to Quentin. We kicked it, man, a lot. Good people. and he was a fool, man. When it came to regulating, stomping cats out, whenever there was funk, there was he was there, just like I was. This is the way I am, man. If I'm kicking it with you and somebody runs up on you, of course I'm a regulate, because I feel like you're disrespecting me as well. If you're gonna fuck with my company, the way I look at it is you lightweight disrespecting me too. You're gonna run up and mob on somebody that I'm kicking it with, then I'm gonna get involved too. But I've been in a lot of situations where I was with the homeboy and another cat that I considered a homeboy ran up on that cat. And in a situation like that, I'll take a step back and let them deal with their shit, man. And that's how I've always been. Unless it's like somebody I know and I don't really consider him a homie, but the cat I'm mobbing with is like somebody I'm real tight with, then you might get thumped too, man. So that's how I've always done it, man. You ain't gotta ask if somebody runs up on you and you start getting mopped up. I'm there with you, man. We're gonna get mopped up together. We're gonna get a victory. So this situation was similar to something like that happening right there, where I just got out. Once again, I'm fresh out, yoked up. The homie that I used to kick it with, he was fresh out. He got that glow, that same glow I keep talking about. And you can tell we both just got out. We're both healthy as fuck, two big ass beasts. You know what I mean? The other homie that I was kicking it with that day was Chewy. I grew up with Chewy. Those of you from the city or those of you that have done time, you probably know who I'm talking about, Chewy, Jesus Guerrero. I grew up with that cat. I mean, me and that cat used to go to continuation together. A continuation in the city called RAP, Real Alternatives Program, RAP. So we both got kicked out of San Francisco, the San Francisco Unified School District. I got kicked out the whole district. My mom and dad stepfather had to go down and talk to the reps from the San Francisco Unified School District, because they basically kicked me out of every school in the city. When I got kicked out of one school, Burbank, they shot me to James Lick. I got kicked out of James Lick for socking somebody up in class. From James Lick, they shot me to Visitation Valley. I got kicked out of Visitation Valley for fighting in class. So from there, they ended up sending me, from there I ended up graduating, but then I don't know how I graduated. I fucking never even went to school, but they pushed me through anyway. They let me they let me go. They let me pass through, man. So I ended up going to Woodrow Wilson, and let me back up. Once I got kicked out of Visitation Valley, that was it. They kicked me out of all schools in San Francisco and said I had to go to school basically outside of San Francisco, maybe San Mateo or somewhere else. But I couldn't go to school in San Francisco no more. I was too much of an issue. But they did allow me to go to continuation, which was the Real Alternatives Program. And this place was straight fucking ghetto, man. If any of you cats from the city, from my era, are watching this, you guys remember rap, how it was. The teachers were crooked. They used to sell dope. They used to sell weed. There was like a the staff that worked there was like 6 of them, and they had a van, and they used to drive around with baseball bats, and they were supposed to break fights up. But they were all homeboys from my hood, from the Mission. So a lot of times we'd be out there gangbanging. These cats would fly up in the van, jump out with baseball bats, and that would be our backup right there, man. That's how they used to come mobbing up. There was like 5 or 6 of them. Not only that, they had a a weight room there where everybody in that part of the mission, 16, 17, 18, that part of the mission used to come and get their yoke. They used to come and get their drive on. You end up getting yoked up over there, man. You didn't have to go to school. They just keep the door open, and motherfuckers used to come in off the streets. We used to be in there drinking OE, smoking weed, doing our thing. School was a joke. I never went to class. I'd be out in the fucking, in the, like the little courtyard, and the teachers would be inside acting like they're teaching class. Ask us like to come in one time, go to school. Fuck school, man. And they'd be like, all right, cool. So anyway, Chewy was going there with me as well. We grew up as little kids together. There's video of us when we were kids, pictures when we were like 12 and 13 years old on YouTube, when there's some throwback videos where you can see us, and we're like little young kids. So and we also used to pull a lot of runners. There would be like a couple liquor stores up the street. We'd end up going in, coming out with a case of beer, and we'd run down to the school, and we'd be drinking in the courtyard for the rest of the day. Rap was cool as fuck, man. It was like, it was crazy. It was an experience. When I think back to those memories, a lot of them were good memories, but it was a crooked ass school, man. So anyway, me and Chewy got a lot of history. We did a lot of gang banging together. We did a lot of funk. We hurt a lot of people together in my neighborhood. A lot of times for no fucking reason. For no reason. We used to play this game where we would walk up and down the street. Me, Chewy, and the third mostly me and the other individual that I'm talking about, the big cat. Where we'd be walking down the street and we'd take turns firing cats that were, somebody be walking towards us. It wouldn't be a homeboy or nothing like that. It'd be somebody we didn't know. It could be anybody. And we take turns seeing how many of these cats we could knock out. Cats that were, sometimes we knock them out, sometimes they'd just be like, man, what the fuck, man? What the fuck you doing? I'm gonna call the cops. But that's the type of dumb shit that we used to do. Yeah, I know, some of you go ahead, call me a J-Cat. But, we were young. We were reckless out there, man, and that's the kind of dumb shit we used to do. But anyway, let me get straight to this story right here. So the day that I'm referring to, we were at Larazo Park. And we were kicking it out there that day. The homies were out there. They were kind of thick. Like I said, a lot of homeboys were out there bumping their shit. They were drinking, and we were kicking it. There was a bunch of homies there, so like I was a little further down with some other homies that I knew, and we were just chopping it up. Chewy and the other homie were up a little bit, like halfway up the street, and they were kicking it with some other homies. So I'm kicking it, we're drinking beer and bumping oldies and shit, just chilling, man, And all of a sudden, I see something crack off a little ways up. So right away, I want to see what's up. I see people fucking scrambling, trying to get out the way and see what's going on. So I see Chewy and the other homie on this one cat. They're on this cat. So right away, for those, go ahead, call me a coward, call me whatever you want. For those of you that are going to say something about us mobbing on this fool, packing them out. That's what we did, man. We start packing this dude out. I seen them regulate. That was my company. Those are the cats I rolled up with. So right away, I run over there and I start getting mines in on this dude. And all three of us were. Chewy's a good sized dude. At that time I was swole. The other homie, he was swole. He's a big ass fool. He's like 6'3", at least 260, but a solid 260. Me myself, I'm tipping the scales at that time, probably around 220. I'm healthy, but I got that burpee. I got that little burpee physique going on at that time, man. I was slimmed up, little chiseled up, but I had my size on me. Anyway, so we're working this dude. I mean, we're working him bad, man. He's taking straight headshots, all head and upper body shots. He's getting them from all three of us. We're going in on this dude hard, man, and he ends up going down, and then we start stomping him out. We start stomping this dude out. I just got out. Matter of fact, the clothes I got on, well, not the clothes, but at least my shoes were my fucking dress outs. Brand new pair of tennies. I had on some brand new Jordans, all white. So we're stomping this dude out, kicking him, punching him, beating the shit out this dude. And Chewy had already caught a case for beating a security guard to death. So that fool wasn't gonna stop. The other homeboy, he's another nut like that. Once he goes in on somebody, it doesn't matter if you start pleading with them to stop, or that you had enough. He's one of them cats that you don't care about that. He's gonna still keep stomping you out until he's tired, or until you're like right on the brink of death, man. And that's where this dude ended up. I'm telling you, I can't emphasize enough how bad we beat this dude. We kept on beating him, and it was at least for a good 3 or 4 minutes. And I got winded just bombing on this dude, bombing him and kicking him and stomping on him. I was already winded. I stopped a couple times, caught my breath, and then went back in on him, as they did as well, Chewy and the other homie. There was at one point where I started to see that it started to get out of hand, and I started I started thinking to myself, man, if we don't stop, we're gonna kill this dude, because he was taking some nasty headshots and he was getting stomped on. His head was bouncing up off the concrete. I mean, we're playing basketball with his head, man. No. So there was at one point where I stopped both of them. I'm like, man, that's enough. Stop. You know what I'm saying? Homeboy's done, bro. He's done. And some of the other cats, they didn't jump in. One cat tried to say something, and Chewy fired on him. And he was another homie. He came up and was like, man, why you guys doing the homie like that? That's fucked up. Stop. You know what I'm saying? You guys are going to kill him. And then there was some females there that they started crying because they were like, come on, somebody stop these guys. They're gonna kill this dude. That's how bad it got. So anyway, at least there was one of us that had the wherewithal, or the common sense to stop. I stopped both of them. I pushed them back. Stop, man. Stop. Homeboys had enough, man. So they both stopped. We leave this cat laying there. He's laying on his back. He's not moving. He's laid the fuck out, and he's done. So, and again, man, I know a lot of you are going to say, man, that's fucked up. You guys packed that dude out. That's some coward shit. And I'll take that, man, because it was. You know what I mean? It really was. To pack somebody out like that, 3 cats on one, it's some coward shit. You know what I mean? I'll be the first one to tell you that now. But when you're out there and you're banging, man, and you have that mindset of a gang member, that's the kind of shit that you do, man. And there's nothing fair about it. I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, man, look, why don't you guys go heads up with the dude? Why don't you guys do this? Why don't you guys do that? There's, even in prison, a lot of people will look at the assaults and be like, man, that's some coward shit. Why take 2 or 3 of you cats to knock that one dude down? That's how it works, man. Nobody plays by the rules when it comes to violence. It's fast, it's heartless, and that's how it goes. When somebody falls victim to an act of violence, it's usually there's no rules in that. Nobody's giving them no fair heads up. It's not gonna be a one-on-one. It's always gonna be 2 or 3 or 4 cats that go in on one cat and stomp him the fuck out. So anyway, this dude was laying there. I go back to the homies where I was at, And you know, it changed the whole mood of everybody there at the park. This dude's laying there, and he's a homeboy. There was a couple homeboys that went over there, and you know, eventually they start to try to help this dude up, and they're wiping him down because dude's covered in blood. He's got gashes. He's let me put it like this. He's an older cat. He was probably I was around 23, 23, 24. As was Chewy and the other homie. They were around my same age. This cat was probably around, he's probably around 30. He couldn't have been no older than 30. He was an older cat, bald headed, big mustache. And I don't even know what kicked it off, but something kicked it off between him and Chewy. And next thing you know, Chewy was on him, and then the other homie got on him. And then that's kind of how it happened. So anyway, they wipe him up. They clean him up a little bit. They sit him up and wait until he's finally able to get up on his feet. It took him about 5 minutes to walk from the street back to the sidewalk. That's how fucked up he was. He was stomped out, man. Anyway, I got you too, man. The homie that asked me to stop saying that told you it's a mental thing. But I'm on it, boy. So it took him about 5 minutes to walk back to the sidewalk. He ends up, I'm watching him. I'm watching his, I mean, I just victimized this dude, so I want to see what he's doing. You know, when you do that to somebody and you're still in that area. Obviously, I didn't know if he had a car around there. I didn't know if he was gonna go to a trunk and pull out a pistol, or if he was gonna go get a weapon or something. So anyway, I'm watching him. I'm chopping it up with the other homies, but I'm keeping an eye on this dude. So I watch him. He brushes himself off. He kind of walks over there in the area where Chewy's at, and the other homie. So I'm kind of too far down again to, I go back to where I was. I'm too far down to hear what the conversation was. I didn't ask what it was about. I seen him go into effect, and that's when I went. So I'm watching this cat, and all of a sudden he tries to steal on Chewy. This dude tried to sucker punch the homie. I don't know why he did that, but it was probably the worst mistake he made. So when he did that, it was round 2. All 3 of us went back to beating this dude, and the second time was worse than the first time, man. Again, I'm not. I feel bad about a lot of the shit that I done, victimizing people like this. So it's not about that. I'll just say, for those of you that are probably gonna, hit me with some I look at it as constructive criticism. But for those of you that are gonna speak up and just say, man, that was wrong for you guys to do the homie like that, I know that. I'm the first one to say it. Anytime you victimize somebody like that, it's a fucked up thing. But that's the streets, man. That's some of the ugliness that's out there in the streets, and those are the kind of things that happen. I'm not making excuses for myself. Like I said, I'll be the first one to say that I'm not proud of doing shit like that. But I've been on the other side of situations like that. That still doesn't justify it, but that's the lifestyle I was living. So just keep that in mind when you guys drop your comments, man. You're gonna say what you're gonna say, and it's good. I'll accept that. But anyway, let me get back to the story. So we stomped this dude out worse the second time. I'm talking about, man, we're going in on this dude hard, man. Stomping him, kicking him, punching him. All 3 of us, big dudes. We're not little dudes. This dude's knocked out. Now he's done. We're slinging him around like a rag doll now. I'm pulling him one way, the homeboy's pulling the other. Like, we're just tearing his ass apart, man, like some pit bulls. again, once it got to a point to where shit was, I'm pretty sure he was at death's door. He was right there. You got 240 pound, 260-pound dudes jumping up and landing on his head, running up, kicking him in the face. Homeboy had boots on too. I had tennis shoes on. The other homie had tennis shoes on. It was ugly, man. It was ugly. So again, though, I was the one to stop it. Once it got bad again, I mean, this dude was leaking everywhere. He had blood coming out his nose, his eye, his. He probably had blood coming out his eyes, man. He had blood coming out of every hole in his head. Plus, he was gashed up. You know, he was getting gashed up with the kicks, the punches, and you know, again, when it got to that point where it was just, it was ugly, man. I broke it up again. I was like, come on, stop, man, stop. Homeboy's done, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna end up fucking, we're gonna kill this dude. So I get them dudes off him. I get both of them off. It's a good thing these guys listen to me too, man. So I don't know. So right there at La Raza Park, so on one side you got the park, and on the other side you got like a mechanic shop. It's like a place where, what do you call it? Those places where they take cars, a yard where they take wrecked cars that are demolished, a wrecking yard, kind of like. That wrecking yard goes like halfway up the street, and then you got houses across the street where people live. I believe somebody looked out their window and seen what was going on and called the cops. It's right after I broke it up the second time. I look up and I see SFPD come flying around the corner. I bolt. The homeboys bolt. I don't know which way they went, but I bolted. For those of you that are familiar with Frisco and that area over there, I bolted across the park. I ended up running across the freeway. There's a freeway right there. Well, it's not literally the freeway. It's coming off the freeway. It's like the exit, and there's like a bunch of overpasses right there. But I ran up under those overpasses. And then there's a stairway that leads all the way up. It goes all the way up a big ass mountain. And when you get to the top of those stairs, it's like, it's on the mountainside. You can see like the whole city down there. So it gives you a look of the whole park, and you can see. So when I got to the top, I had a clear shot of La Raza Park, and I could see the cops down there. I could see an ambulance. The fire department was down there. A lot of the homies that were there they all bounced. They all ended up getting up out of there. I couldn't see that individual. They might have either put him in the ambulance or they either took him. It took me a while to get over there to those stairs and get all the way up them motherfuckers. It was like a fucking 100 flights. So anyway, when I get to the top of those stairs, that's when I trip out, man. I look at my shoes and they were white, but now they're covered in blood. If I get jammed up by the cops, I get stopped at all, I'm done. There's blood all over my shoes, all in the laces. I mean, I fucked them shoes up. I ended up tossing them motherfuckers out. They weren't even. I mean, I'm real particular about my shoes too. My shoes stay white. If I got a little bit of dirt around the fucking soles, they're done. I get rid of them anyway. I keep brand new kicks, man. It's just that's the OCD in me. But those shoes were done. They had blood all in the laces. They had blood all over, man. So I stay up at the top of that hill, and I basically wait for all the cops to leave, the ambulance, the fire department, everybody to clear up out of there, and then I make my way down towards 25th from the top of that hill. I ended up running into a homeboy and his old lady, and you know, I seen him and I flagged him down. I'm like, hey, I need a ride down to like fucking just out of here, bro. Like, I think I went down by 16th somewhere. Anyway, no. I went down by the hood. And I went to a little Foot Locker right there. There's a Foot Locker on Mission Street right there. And I just bought a cheap ass pair of fucking white I don't know what the fuck they were. Atlases, some old cheap ass $20 shoes, man, just so I can get rid of my other shoes. So I threw the kicks on, and later on, about that part of the story's over. So let me just say this: I didn't know that homeboy. Had never met him prior to that incident. I ended up running into him later, and I would see him in the hood. When I be pushing through the hood, I end up seeing him. And then, you know, I knew some other homies that I was out there with one time when he was pushing through the hood, and I asked the homie, hey, who's that? And you know, he told me his name, and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm like, what is he? He's been around for a minute. And apparently he's been from the hood for a while. I just never met him. And you know, he was like, yeah, you know, he's a good homie, man. You know, so eventually later, I ended up approaching the dude, and I ended up, because he recognized me. He recognized all three of us. And, you know, I told him, hey, bro, it was one of the things, I don't know you. You know, we've never met, but this is the situation. I don't know why you got into it with the homie, man, but, you know, things just ended up working out like that. I didn't know you were from the hood, man. And it's like, I ain't tripping, bro. It's something that happened. You know, he's healed up. Obviously, this was way later. You know, he's healed up. Didn't look nothing like he looked that day when he was fucked up. Obviously, but you know, he seemed like he was a good homie, and we never run around together. We never kick it because, you know, I'm sure even though he was like, I'm not tripping, man. You know, once you put hands on somebody like that, they never forget about it. I wouldn't, you know, so that's the end of that part. But I'm gonna wrap this up with the other crazy part of this story. So after I get my kicks, I end up seeing the homie, the big homie, the bigger homie that was there with us, that was there with me and Chewy, and he had made his way back to the hood. I guess he walked from somewhere. He hid over there, and he ended up waiting till everybody left, the paramedics and the cops and all that shit, and then he ended up waiting and then coming back to the hood. So anyway, later on that night, we're drinking. We start drinking. It's probably about somewhere between like 9 and 10, and we're still kicking it in the hood. We're drinking Cisco. I don't know how many of you have tried Cisco, but that's like fucking chemicals in a bottle. That, I don't know what that shit is, but it's fire, man. The orange shit, the orange Cisco. So we're slamming that back. I got a whole bottle to myself, a quart. He's got a whole quart, and all I remember is drinking that shit, drinking that Cisco. And it's a good thing I ended up buying some new shoes, because I remember slamming that Cisco, and then I don't remember nothing else but waking up in San Francisco Mission Jail, the jail in the Mission District that was between, I want to say, what was that at? Between like 22nd? It was around there somewhere. I forget. I know there was only one police station at that time back there in that area. So I end up waking up in a small holding tank with the homie. He's standing up, leaning on the bars, talking shit to the cops, and I'm laying there on a roll of toilet paper. This is like I told you guys, straight up. I wake up, I'm still buzzed, I'm still drunk, I'm hot, dehydrated. I wake up and I'm like, bro, tell me this is a fucking dream. What the fuck what do we do? How we locked up? And he's like, man, I don't know. I'm trying to find out right now. It was like, they ain't telling me shit, man. These motherfuckers like, see y'all. Hey, somebody come back here. Homeboy's a fool. He's a knucklehead. Eventually, one of the officers got tired of hearing him yell, and he came back there. What you keep yelling for, man? What you want? And I asked him, I'm like, hey, man, we're just trying to find out why we're locked up. Why we get arrested? Cop starts laughing. He's like, you don't remember, huh? He's like, you guys are arrested for strong arm robbery. And I'm like, motherfucker, man, that's my MO. Strong arm robbery. Who did we rob? Like, he's like, I don't know, some civilian, some guy that you robbed. So I didn't know the circumstances of the robbery, where it happened, who it was, nothing about it. I didn't know shit because I was faded. That Cisco had me fucked up. Lesson of the day: don't drink a fucking quart of Cisco to the head, man. That shit's fire. Unless you got a high tolerance, I don't know. Some people could drink hard liquor, but anyway. So I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Frisco, when it comes to prosecuting you, Frisco is one of the most liberal counties in California. Kamala Harris was the district attorney over there at that time. Her and I think Steve Cooley. Steve Cooley used to be, from what I used to hear, a pretty fair, decent prosecutor, head prosecutor out there in LA. I don't know how true it is. Some of you, maybe you can tap in and comment on that. But we didn't get prosecuted for it. So we hit San Francisco County Jail, obviously together. They threw us in a paddy wagon and drove us down to the 850 Bryant to the county jail. We get to the county jail and we're still faded, man. We're still faded. They put you in a big fucking a big holding tank over there. There's like 50 dudes in there. It smells like fucking feet, cheese, ass. It's nasty as fuck. I mean, there's like winos off the street that are laying in there that ain't showered in fucking a year. So you guys can imagine how fucking filthy it is in there. And it smells. So anyway, we come mobbing up in there. We're like two bully ass motherfuckers, man. We both had that same type of mentality. There's a cat on the phone. He's been on the phone for a while. I tell him to get up. He says something. I bomb on him. The homie bombs on him. We start lighting this fool up in the holding tank. He lays down. He don't try to fight back. He cowers. And he just lays on the floor and just goes to sleep. He's like, fuck it. I'm not fucking with these dudes. So we're in the county jail waiting to get processed. I get on the phone, I call home, let everybody know I'm back in jail, fucking caught another case. I don't know what's gonna happen, we'll see. This is like the third time I've caught a robbery, but they never picked them up. I mean, they picked them up, that was my controlling case. So at one point they did when I was a youngster, but over the years I had caught like 3 or 4 robberies, dead bang, caught in the act, and they dumped the case and gave me to Quentin. They let Quentin, fuck it, we're gonna dump the case, put them on the bus and let CDC deal with them. So I'm hoping that that's what they're gonna do. Frisco, you know, when you're in jail and you get cracked, you get busted, the following morning they come through with what's they call it DA kickouts or ORs. So they'll come to the gate, whatever tank you're in, they'll be like, gentlemen, listen up. If I call your name, you're a DA kickout. So they run off a list of names, whoever, you know, the DA declines to pick up. And if you're on parole, obviously, you know, you're going to prison, but fuck, you're only gonna do a violation. So me and the homie went to the same tank. They called him first, you know, but I'm wondering if they're gonna call me, but I know if they call him, they're gonna call me too. At least I'm hoping, but I don't know the extent of my involvement in the case. So I'm hoping, like, fuck, bro. Hopefully they're not gonna let you. I mean, I don't want the homie get prosecuted either, but hopefully they ain't gonna just let you go and stick me with this shit. But they end up calling my name too. So we end up getting on a bus and we end up going to Quentin. I'm validated, but this time I'm still kind of a young guppy still. So I end up sliding through. They don't catch me when I get there. Usually they'll come when I pull up to Quentin on the bus. Them motherfuckers within 5 minutes, they'll come up on the bus with the clipboard. John Mendoza, where you at? And you know, I get up and they'll take me and they'll throw me in fucking one of the cages. Like, he's going to AdSec. He's validated. But this one time I was still And this was like 93, 90. So I'm still, my prison history is still, I'm still kind of somewhat fresh, or still somewhat kind of new. They don't know me yet. So I end up sliding through the reception center for like a month or two until the goon squad ends up showing up to my cell one day and like, hey, let's go, pack it up. You know where you're going. But in between that time, I'm out there in the reception center with the homie, and the whole time it took like 30 days. We still didn't know what happened. What we got arrested for? We don't know none of the details. All I knew is that I would find out the details when I got my screening paperwork. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm like, fuck, where's screening at, man? See what these motherfuckers gonna do. Anyway, screening eventually ends up calling us, obviously, both of us. We go out, we get our screening paperwork. As soon as he hands me the packet, I start reading the shit. So anyway, long story short, this is how stupid your boy was, man. I'm faded, we're both drunk. According to the police report, we walked up to some cat on the street between, I think it was between 23rd and 24th on Mission Street. One of us, according to the police report, it was me, socked this dude and took his wallet. I had his wallet in my pocket. I put his wallet in my pocket. We take off, we walk up a half a block to a taqueria. Motherfucking Mexicans hungry, you know what I'm saying? Mexican gotta eat too. Or Puerto Rican gotta eat, you know what I mean? We're standing in line, we're waiting for some motherfucking super nachos. Nah, we're waiting for our food. We order burritos and shit, some motherfucking horchata. We're standing in line, SFPD comes walking in. 3 cops come walking in uniforms, and they walk straight up to us. They turn around, put your hands behind your back. What'd I do? Turn around, put your fucking hands behind your back. Okay, turn around, put my hands behind my back. The homie, he gets cuffed up, and that's basically what the police report said, that we robbed this individual. We walked up to him, told him to give us his money first. When he didn't comply, I allegedly socked him, dropped him. Then we started going through his pockets. It said that the homie grabbed him while he was holding him down. I was going through his pockets. So we were both pretty much, we both had involvement in that robbery, equal culpability, if you want to say. So right after that, that's when we got rolled up on, we got arrested. So, you know, it's crazy, but that night, that day, that all that happened in one fucking day, man. That's you know, that's how I spent a lot of my days out there doing shit like this. This was only one day. So, you know, when I tell you guys I've got a lot of stories, a lot of drama, a lot of the drama that I'm going to be talking about is drama that was either self-inflicted, it's things that I provoked, or things that I did myself, or, you know, like I said, when you're out there and this is the game that you're playing, other motherfuckers gonna run up and give you some of the same. So a lot of the times, you know, that's what happened. But anyway, it's just one day, another story, another kind of crazy story that happened out there. I got some bangers for you guys. I haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, I got drive-bys, shootings, stabbings, melees, more one-on-ones, fades, stompings. You guys are the ones that wanted the drama. You guys are the ones that started this shit. You gave me the fever now, so I'm gonna give it to you. And again, before I close this up, man, you know, for those of you that are not really too familiar with this lifestyle, that haven't lived out there in the streets, and that haven't grown up in these type of environments, just keep in mind that that's the way the streets work, man. That's the kind of shit that happens out there. The streets they're unforgiving. You know, so although I know it's fucked up hearing about somebody getting packed out like that, you know, 3 dudes to take down 1 dude. I know it didn't take all 3 of us to do that. But again, there's no rules when it comes to hurting people out there, when it comes to robbing people, when it comes to stomping people out or victimizing people. That's just the way the streets work, man. So this is episode 4. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Sandman and me will probably be on tomorrow. If not, within the next couple days. I'm not pushing him. I'm gonna let him take care of what he needs to take care of. I might run a quick live. We'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story, man. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna hit you with a good one. A straight banger. You guys stay safe. And I'm out.